studied, but they
Yeah,
were running trains
For the football
on
games.
New Haven
Right.
to the Meadowlands.
Yeah, and this year they stopped it because NJT said it was too much for them or some ridiculous thing like that.
Well, we have some big problems with Steve Santoro, you know, the executive director, which we'll bring up later.
Yeah, they actually all operating on business. Okay, so we've done that one. Priorities for this coming year.
Yeah, we really haven't, I mean, we're down, one thing I neglected to mention is that Angela, you guys both know, but maybe others here don't know. Angela has left us to go to a job with city planning, which is a really great position.
We wish her the best of luck.
And we do wish her the best of luck, and we hope that in that position, she will do things that will really improve conditions for the riders as well as for the city. Because the position is sort of half looking at development proposals and their effect on transit, and half of it is really trying to find places where land use and transit can support each other. And in transit, I mean transit in the big picture, commuter railroads as well as subways and buses. So there are people in city transit and within city transit that are very interested in ramping up the degree to which they support transit with their decisions, and they use transit as an organizing principle to make their decisions. So I mean, it's a great position. We're glad she.
Yeah, with Plan YC and now whatever de Blasio's update of that, they've excluded the transit system from those plans. And it seems like this is the first hope of, including
It's very
transit
knowledge,
as
it could be a big asset to the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's just silly, but it's, you know, right now it's sort of a symptom of the competition between the state and city levels at this point, that de Blasio, where it suits him, is willing to just say, well, transit is not the city's responsibility, it's a state agency, we don't have anything to do with that, which is just,
You mentioned TOD when I and 7 of my friends, 6 other friends rode out to Greenport yesterday. We saw along with the second mainline track is being built on the Ronkonkoma branch. There was a lot of brand new buildings pointed out.
Even Yaphank, which was a downer neighborhood, was starting to look much better.
Yeah, brand new stuff going up.
Does seem like
In
that,
anticipation
yeah.
of
No, excuse me, not Yaphank, it's
one of those places out there.
Wyandanch is getting a big redevelopment.
I know, it was Wyandanch, I'm sorry.
And, yeah.
So it's very promising.
Unfortunately, the town isn't paying. The town is not paying for the station. So Long Island has had to step in and build the station, or agree to build the station. It's yet to be done.
I think the plan ahead is partially, I mean, we're getting strong input for west of Hutchinson right now to make up of the council. I'm thinking with the election that's happening on the other side, it is a year where there's an opportunity to, speak to a new governor and speak to those running about the opportunities, because I do think that those of us from New York have a chance here to, they could have a PCAC type of group, with members on the board. Their board crisis is massive. The MTA's board is now, like, it's been woken up and it's becoming very active. So there's a lot of things from this side, and the data that is provided to the board members is now, and we played a role in all of that. So I think in the year ahead, well, goal number 1 is getting a full council, but until that happens, possibly the west of Hudson is a focus area, namely because there's about to be a leadership change that could be substantive as far as public transportation goes, and to put the efforts there.
Well, Ellen, Randy and I attended the last New Jersey Transit board meeting. And gotta tell you, we were really going after them about what's happening with New Jersey Transit. And the biggest crisis they have is having enough members, crew members to run the trains. And we understand that over the Columbus Day weekend, Columbus Day itself, they had to cancel quite a few trains because they didn't have crews to run them.
What schedule were they on? Regular?
Regular schedule.
Yeah.
It was a regular schedule, and it hit critical proportions. And we brought it up because the board meeting was a few days later, and we hit the executive director because there was nothing put in his report about that. And he came back and told us that they're putting, what, 7 members through the, seven students through the engineer school.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, they could lose a lot more than that because the
They're going
organization is
And where-
30
and
years
where-
old.
For those who don't know, where are they going? Metro
To Metro
North.
North.
Why?
New York
Because
City
the pay-
Transit.
No, Metro North, because the pay is higher.
Metro North
And
pays
there's a
more.
pension possibility after a number of years, and they don't have it there. So there are a lot of them are coming.
But the truth is, when you're starting to have not enough train operators, that's how serious the symptom is if you don't have a support staff supporting those train operators. So the numbers of how much New Jersey Transit got gutted from when it was the golden, we're all looking to you to set the example.
$360 million when the present governor took office 7+ years ago, to $36 million now.
That's why.
But
And
yeah, it's
nobody
just-
was
it's
screening,
just-
we were screening, but nobody who counted was screening. And the board just sits there and it's
They
yes,
widened
yes,
the Garden
yes,
State
yes.
Parkway with it.
Yeah.
But the other thing, yesterday when I was researching, the Blaustein School is doing a program on looking at what it takes to recruit people for New Jersey Transit. You know, right
That's
now, and I
really
think
interesting.
that's
If you have
it's
any information
interesting.
like that, let us know.
Yeah, I was gonna reach out to them to see where are they in the process and learn a little more about it, because it's hiring for all departments, you know, and ramping up, hopefully with a new governor.
Well, you know, the problem though of the cruises is terrific because I've spoken to Steve Burkett, who's in charge of the union, and most of his members are operating employees. And he told me they were down 200. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but when I went to Steve Santoro about it, he says, we're not going to discuss this.
Nice.
And Randy was agreeing, we're not going to discuss this. Well, a few days later, it hit the front page of a local newspaper that, you know, there was a severe shortage of engineers. And you know, what we've said is that they have a crisis.
Have a crisis.
And they have to try to handle it. In the interim, I came up with a totally left-handed proposal that just possibly, to protect the service on the Port Jervis line, that some of the Metro North engineers from east of Hudson could be qualified and cruise.
Those who are already qualified
Yeah,
over there
which
could
is,
run the
that's a
train.
really
That's-
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, could possibly be available.
Yeah.
So that because, let's face it, the Norfolk Southern runs freight over their lines anyway. And possibly an arrangement could be worked out if there's a shortage of personnel. We have no trains canceled on the Port Jervis line because of a lack of crews that are on an emergency
But
basis,
that
crews can be
brings up-
brought over.
Yeah, that brings up another really interesting point that I think that discussion can't even start until there's the president of Metro North. You have acting, Kathy, but they don't, the
It's
acting
the same, all the same
aren't usually,
authorities that.
no, that's a strategic decision that you would probably,
wouldn't do.
I don't think you'd want to do it before you had a, but they,
Yeah.
apparently they're,
She could be there for a month or
Yeah.
3 months.
right. I
They're
don't
in a-
think
The
an acting would-
tenuousness. of
they're in
it.
a search process, and I guess they've gotten a lot of interest in it.
Yeah,
And they
so,
want to hear,
I did
But-
participate in a conference call last night.
yeah.
has anybody talked to Martin Robbins lately?
I haven't seen Martin Robbins at all.
You haven't?
I don't know
That's- I was gonna
how
see if we
active
could-
he still is, or,
He's
I
still
don't
at
know.
Blaustein.
yeah, I don't know.
You know,
But-
so I
Yeah.
thought that he might be somebody also that's interesting to get in the conversation.
Yeah, before I forget it, I will mention one Metro North side of this, you know, migration. There is some resentment apparently in the labor ranks at Metro North that folks are being brought over, engineers are being brought over from NJ Transit, and people aren't being able to move up as quickly as they might have already.
Seniority list though.
Yeah,
They don't put them above, they go to the bottom of the list,
Yeah.
like as we heard.
but I
I think that's.
I've heard, I've
But
heard
you
that.
don't know,
That
you
was
don't
one of
know
the,
if
that was one of
they
the,
negotiate stuff.
when they said, when they, you know, had that strike, you know, the strike authorization, that was one of the issues. Is that that people were, engineers were coming in from outside.
With more years of experience? And
They were met, well, and they felt that was jeopardizing jeopardizing the possibility of people getting, I think it was more, if Metro North is hiring from outside, will they still have will they still have training classes internally to train engineers, or will they just hire everybody, you know?
There's a limit to what they can take from over.
Yeah, I know, but it is it has been mentioned.
Well, I was at Harriman, and you guys got the email on it, yeah, about the first day I was up there, and it turns out that the first train that's supposed to leave from Harriman to go down to Hoboken was supposed to be in place behind the last train carrying passengers. So it represents all the buses that were coming to Harriman, and that train was canceled. And so they wound up sending the buses to Ramsey Route 17, which was a fairly good decision on the part of the Metro North and the MTA bus supervisor. But it just hurt me when I heard from the engineer who was supposed to operate that train, because he then was deadheading on the bus, that they had given NJT 6 hours notification that the train was defective. And
Wow.
It annoyed me that they didn't have a replacement train from Hoboken with a crew. True, it's our train, but they're the contractor, and they control everything. And I spoke with Mike Kesich, and I asked him to follow up and find out why. He later wrote to me that they didn't have a crew in the train in the middle of the day. I mean, it's just beyond me that they couldn't do it.
And the other thing is the equipment, Randy.
Yeah, we had, we came back on the train out of Secaucus at 4:49, but like a couple of trains later, there were mechanical problems which screwed up the line for an hour or so on the train.
Is that Metro North, in a contract agreement, I would think, able to ask questions like, we'd like to know the staffing of the rail yard, we'd like to know, you know.
I think they get a
we'd like
report.
to go and take a look at what and talk to those people, like, you know, or do you think they're just getting blocked?
I know they used to get a report on a daily basis, not sent to me, but I could force the issue and say that I want to get these reports every day to see what's going on there. The busing operation on the Pascack Valley line, which I went out to look at also, didn't go seamlessly, even though I had told them exactly what I wanted a week ahead of time. The first day I was there were no PA announcements. Well, it wasn't NJT's fault, it was Metro North. There was a problem with the PA system, and so they did fix that for day 2. But when I went there later in the morning on day 2, they weren't playing, someone just picked the wrong P announcement. They were playing the Port Jervis announcements on the Pascack Valley line. I mean, it's a simple mistake, but they did fix it right away. I wanted them to have signs posted in the shelter ahead of time, and they did. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to everyone that I had sent the original email to, and the county found a mistake in the thing. So they went directly to NJT because they know the people. Did they fix it? I don't really know. The buses, I wanted them to have the proper signs, and they did. So that seemed to work pretty well. I did have to make a number of trips into the city and did ride the bus, especially after the committee meeting, and there was could have potential for a major screw up there where there wasn't a train in place to take people up there to Secaucus to get the bus. Orrin had his own problems getting home at one of the meetings because they weren't prepared.
But, and with going into, I mean, I guess it's
So
lucky that we're
three
not
examples, 3 dates that he and I were there. I wonder how it went on the days we weren't there.
But now you're heading into slip slide season, and it's good that the leaves haven't fallen yet, but if you're already having equipment problems and you're not even in slip slide season, yeah.
Well, Ellen, it's gotten worse. Okay, there was a Bloomberg article that New Jersey Transit's breakdowns is like so much greater than any other railroad. Okay, Metro North's on the road breakdowns is only 20% of what the New Jersey Transit is experiencing.
Wow.
That's a big
But
difference.
that's why, like, how many people do they have physically working to repair the trains?
Well, that's
versus
another
what their
problem,
staffing
too.
is supposed to be. What are the vacancies, or what is what did they cut it down to because they don't have the budget? You know,
I know, and now they're telling us that they can't get certain equipment because there's a backlog at the Meadows Maintenance Complex.
Yeah,
I
basically,
guess everybody
our
knows
express-
the nickname for that is the Mickey Mouse Club.
And how big, do they tell you how big that backlog is?
No,
Yeah.
and there's no
it's
status
exactly-
report from the executive director to the board of directors.
And so can Metro North get those numbers to?
Well, Monday I got
anchor it
several
up?
emails from people I used to ride with on the Metro North Express, the first one, that there were only 3 cars instead of 4 people were standing. And then we rode the 712 train yesterday, which is a New Jersey Transit train, and it's supposed to have 7 cars.
They only had 6.
They only had 6 cars. And the crew said, yeah, they've had 6 cars for a while. We're having.
So you're, it seems to me you are headed into the governor's gonna come in and he won't be able to do things for some time, and you're about to go into between fall and winter season. You know, maybe on the other side, next summer, maybe things will be getting built up. But in making the case of Metro North getting involved because they may become in breach of the contract at some point because they don't have the equipment.
You're right, absolutely.
And they're not, can our trains get repaired in
Well,
our rail yards? You know, is it stuff like that? Is that even a possibility or that's
Well,
not a
I
possibility?
changed my remarks slightly from what I was going to say, but I did say that with the winter season coming, our customers, because you're ours, should not be greeted by text alerts saying that their train is canceled due to mechanical problem or no crew.
But I don't know that they're in a position to do something about it because they don't have the money to maintain the cars
Wasn't
or
there some
status or
emergency
anything.
money that they got?
So that's where it's sort of, if they're in breach of contract, at some point
So where
they
are we
may
gonna
not
go?
be.
It's like the heads of
Yeah.
agencies
Well,
and
that's why I was
BTA
asking
and
you.
SEPTA going to Hyundai, ultimately,
That's why, is
and
it,
Korea and demanding that they do
is it
so we don't cancel the
physically
contract. You
impossible
don't have a
for
choice.
Metro North to repair some of the cars? Can they get
It's not
there?
impossible, but it's not easy.
No, the part situation.
It would be
Is
getting,
there a union issue?
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
governmental obstructions, but.
and there's just getting, just the logistics of
Getting
getting
the cars
cars over loop and, you know.
Or Metro, okay, in
Wow.
another way, in Metro North, having a temporary contract with New Jersey Transit until it gets itself back on its feet to pay to hire people to repair their cars, anything like that, for where
Well,
these cars are getting
I mean-
repaired, and get the staffing for, you know, in a
This is-
better
yeah, I mean,
spot.
if this is
Says
a lack of
we have-
staff.
says Metro North has
I
all
mean,
this money to
all
spend
this
on
money
that.
is extra money.
It may not, but being prepared for what y'all, you're,
They contracted already for the service.
but what happens when they're in breach of service?
Well, here's the thing,
Unfortunately,
Ellen.
if they're in breach,
Yeah.
we would either sit there and make a decision that you're gonna enforce whatever the penalties are.
Right, yeah, I mean.
Or,
Does
but
anybody
in
know
the
what-
sense of.
what does it
what-
take to-
What would that prove, or what, how would
What
that
does
help
it
our
take?
riders?
Right.
Because if
And
you
I
take
don't-
them out, then what do they have?
And I don't even think that we get credit for the trains they cancel that are ours, that we're paying them to run.
Right. Well,
Is
they
there
did-
such a thing as a breach of contract?
I don't know.
Oh,
They have to have
my
a service
memory
level.
is the
Their
agreement, my
contracts
memory is
have
the
to have
We
agreement.
have copies.
Agreement leaves a lot of things to the negotiation of the railroads as far as scheduling. And so,
What's that, Bill?
my memory of the agreement is that it leaves a lot of things to negotiation between the railroads in terms of scheduling. So, you know,
Right.
Metro North wants to add an express train, they go and they talk to New Jersey Transit and they, you know, but, you know, I mean, yeah, they've done.
It's not in the contract.
Yes,
It's in-
yes, I mean, New Jersey Transit has done
Yeah.
all kinds of slimy things which lead you to believe that they're trying not to give Metro North any money back, like canceling the local train and then having the express make all local stops,
Yeah.
behind it, make all local stops.
Yeah, but you have
So you're
allies
still
in the county
operating the
transportation
Metro North
office who
Express.
Would be willing to work with
Yeah.
you
No,
on
you're not.
whatever has to be
Yeah,
done, Susan
yeah.
Meyer and Doug Schutz. I mean, you know them by phone.
Because that train is taking forever.
I don't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you know? No.
No.
No, I mean, one thing we could do, one thing I was thinking we could do,
Sucks, because their buses are sunk too, because
Yeah.
everybody complains about
No,
it.
I ride it, so I know how
It's
bad
bad, it's bad,
it's
it's bad.
gone and
I have
I mean,
employees who
It's
complain
not the employees, it's the management.
I mean,
And
one
they, we had this outstanding guy, Dennis Martin, who was acting interim director of NJT. He was ahead of, what did he do in the buses? He
We
ran the whole.
totally reassigned the buses at the Port Authority bus terminal. And it worked magnificently. It didn't cost New Jersey Transit anything.
And he was not selected as executive director. And, yeah, I mean,
He retired.
yeah, I don't know why, I don't know why that decision was made, if, they felt like.
I wanted to say, go back to something else. Last year, when we had a number of snow events, NJT decided, and I think Metro North also operated weekend schedule, because they knew fewer people were going to be going to work. So on the New Jersey Transit side, their weekend schedule is there's nothing extra on it. And so there were huge complaints from people who ride the Montclair line, that the service was terrible, and I wasn't happy about it. You can't run an hourly headway and run a 4-car train, because in wintertime, if it's snowing, people go to work not because they want to, because they have to. They just have to be there. And so we got kind of a commitment, and it appeared, and it was a mistake number one, that I didn't keep the executive director's report for the meeting I went to, because it said right there they were going to develop schedules for and designate certain trains that will run in inclement weather. And I didn't keep that one for some reason. And when I went to look at it online, he never read it. Steven Santoro skipped over that. But a lot of times, like even when our own reports here, we don't read everything. But when I looked at the video, it wasn't in there either. So I spoke with the guy who was the head of schedules right before last Wednesday's meeting, and I asked him about this. I said, are you going to include, when are your new schedules coming out? And he was very quick to tell me October 29th. And I figured that was going to be the date. And I said to him, so are you going to include this thing in there? He thought about it long and hard. He says, I'll have to look into it. And right then and there, that was mistake number 2, that I didn't speak about this at the public portion and put them right. And we had 2 meetings with NJT after the board meeting where this was in the agenda, and was report, I should say, and they said it was going to happen. Well, I just checked a few minutes ago to see if the new timetables for 29th are coming out, or on the web already. They were not. So I've already written my statement, which I'm fine-tuning to really blast them for not having done this. Other cities do it. Austin does it. Virginia Railway Express does it. Mark in Maryland does it.
Wait,
You have the weekday schedule, and then you identify certain trains which are going to run if there's snow conditions around.
Oh, I'm
And I have bad feelings they're not going to do it, and they're going to take the easy way out, just like I beat them up on when there was that horrible accident last year in Hoboken, where they just canceled our train and other trains, and we're running weekend schedules.
Do you know, is ridership going up on the Tappan Zee Express? Are people migrating over to the Hudson line more? Do we know that, or?
Well, we know that the
It's in the
weekend
report.
ridership is
They
going
do put the ridership in there.
Yeah, that's, I haven't been, in the committee.
I mean, it's in the committee book, but it's hard, you just get an aggregate for Hudson.
You don't have a breakout for
Yeah, you don't know
weekday
what's, you don't know
service.
what's happening in Terry.
Maybe you could ask for that.
I'll give you the number for the Department of Transportation.
But-
I'm
but-
sure they know it.
They would know, yeah, Rockland would know, obviously.
But there's,
But thinking in the committee book, it would be helpful to have that breakout weekday
I
versus.
can ask for it.
But yeah,
I asked them to put in
Yeah.
the
I
trains
don't think that's
to
would
over
be a
10
big deal.
delays.
But in
Yeah.
light of things.
All right, we'll
it
give you
could
something
be-
else to ask. I'll be happy to do that.
That'd be great.
There's this, with the opening of the new bridge, first part of it, I actually did have a chance this morning because I was in the right-hand lane going over the bridge from Rockland going to Westchester, and I could see that, and actually it was a tractor-trailer truck was making a left turn, a very tight turn, right where I was getting ready to go onto the thruway, and I had he said he would wait me to go so he could make it, and it was like one of the beams from the bridge. was
Oh,
taken
wow. Was it what he was carrying?
yeah, and I saw there was a huge section of where they've done some of the demolition on the bridge. And I did send an email to Metro North and the committee about what they're going to do about the rail service on the Hudson line, and when are they going to go and remove because when they did it, when they put the new beams for the new bridge, they suspended service for a couple of Friday nights for a period of hours and ran a bus bridge between Yonkers and Tarrytown. And I asked them, had they been in touch with the Thruway Authority and Tappan Zee constructors, and have they plans to do it and what they're going to do. And one of the board members responded to me, all good questions, but then the next day, Kathy Rinaldi responded that they have, the middle weekend of November is the first date, and the backup date is going to be in December, the first weekend. And they're going to run the same operation, be a bus bridge for that. So, and this is probably not going to take as long as I thought it was going to take to do this work. But they'll have the whole overnight to do it. I did go over the bridge the first morning. It was. So that's one thing over there. There was, did we ever get a response on Metro North about highlighting the yellow?
No, they never responded to us.
I mean, it's like a really great thing to have. And we look at a timetable, and especially at White Plains, and if it was just in a yellow highlight there, you could spot right away where the trains are. Did we know if they ever responded on this other thing that Douglas sent to me? This guy wrote a letter. He criticized some things that Metro North was doing, so what there was something else.
Yeah, I don't know that they did. We can deal with it offline if you can't find it. Yes.
This one.
No, there's no enhancement.
Francina, do you have anything to add? Are you still there, Francina? Okay. And everything okay up on your end of the line?
Yes.
Good.
Other than that, the list from the county executive
Okay.
about the stations being dirty, and, some. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Okay.
Okay.
So there was a,
Yeah, other
did
than,
they
some
respond?
minor crimes and,
No, I don't know
stations
that
being
there's
dirty.
been a response.
Wait, she didn't finish. Crime and stations being dirty?
Did they respond on this, on those two items? Or I'm confused. Francina, did you
No, they
put
haven't
in those
responded
requests?
yet.
You put it in directly?
There was a letter that was sent out by the county executive,
Okay.
making a complaint, because he's been receiving numerous complaints, from more specifically Beacon and Poughkeepsie train stations. So the county executive has been asking, he has some information, wanted a detailed account as to how often the stations are being cleaned, is anything being done to address the crime that's taking place in the city of Poughkeepsie, and the Beacon train station. And so we're just waiting for a response.
Yeah, didn't they respond in sort of I'm not sure if that's the same
Right.
correspondence. They sort of responded in a legal, cited you the state, or cited the county executive, the state law on assessments on the assessments for station cleaning.
Really?
Yeah,
Instead of just coming back with a,
yeah,
Who will clean the station?
that's not.
yeah,
So-
yeah.
What did they do?
Well, they basically wrote a letter that had the provisions of state law about the
The
station cleaning
frequency of
assessments.
cleaning?
Maybe that's a
Station
guess that
maintenance.
we could have come in and talk about.
Well, there was a subsequent letter from the county executive, I think, that asked more pointedly for explanations.
Oh, that's what,
Yeah.
Well, 30 years ago, when Warren and I were on the Rockland County Transportation Advisory Council, which is, been disbanded, the county complained about station maintenance charges for Sloatsburg, which had nothing but cinders. There was no platform, there was nothing. Yeah, just cinders, that's all that was there. And it said, say, well, you have to pay.
Yeah, it's, unfortunately for people that want to challenge it, it's written into state law, and then it just escalates at the consumer price index over every year since the base
Well,
value.
But I think maybe having the stations,
But,
Yeah,
oh, we could have,
have somebody present about
right.
what
Well,
it
I
is.
always see a truck with a crew at Tarrytown. You know, especially if I'm going like 10 o'clock in the morning, there's always someone there. I know that Jeff is always cleaning the Natty Wet Station. He does every day he's doing
He does a
all
good
the
job.
Hudson Station and maintains them very well. So those are the only two stations that I
Well, I
see.
can tell you from experience,
Yeah,
and this is just from experience, because I've gone in Beacon, even though I do Hamburg too, but Beacon has always been a problem. You go down that little tunnel when you get off the train, the underpass.
Right.
why don't we send
Well,
it?
and after they did all that work at Beacon, it's one of those cases, they,
It should be.
put all this money into it, but
Well,
then
ask
it's
for-
not getting
we
maintained.
can ask for people to come, we can ask for
So
people
in
to come.
advance of that, someone send a letter to Metro North about Francina's complaining. She's out there, she represents the riders on that line, and she should have a proper answer.
So maybe for next month, should we
Yeah.
see if we can get somebody
We
to
can
come and
ask
talk
somebody to
about
come in and
cleaning?
talk about stations.
Yeah, station cleaning.
Station,
Yeah,
And
it's,
repair, because not you saying
And
that
repair,
white planes,
maintenance.
The maintenance, the doors that take you into the waiting lobby,
Mhm.
on both sides, those
The handle?
handles are gone.
And put that also in there. I mean, that's what our responsibility is to see
Yeah,
these things and report them.
Come to the meeting and report in what needs to get fixed at your station, because it is a.
But I do know that, what
opportunity.
they keep saying that White Plains is going to be upgraded.
Fine, but in the
Whatever.
meantime, have
When-
everything
But they
working.
should, yeah, I agree, because that just looks,
That's not an excuse.
No.
but it looks bad, I just realized that,
White
yeah,
Plains
that
is-
thing is, well, White Plains is,
Looks sorry,
I'm
that's
just saying, that's
disgusting.
one of their that's a major station for them,
Yeah.
for them to have that station looking.
And it's
Looking
not
bad, I
clean.
went, Warren and I, and a bunch of guys went out to Greenport, and I took some pictures of some of the seats which were cut. So I don't know how, but they had remains of duct tape on there, it looked terrible. I sent to Long Island Railroad and a few board members from that area, and I got immediately a response that they will attack it right away, get that car replaced.
But, and I'd
Well,
be
yeah, are they
interested
gonna
with
say what they're gonna
Poughkeepsie,
do?
like, has the ridership also,
They say
like,
what they do with
wouldn't
seats.
maintenance to some extent
They're
shift
gonna
a
replace
bit
it.
if you have an increase in
They have a
ridership?
program for doing it, so they will go after that car. I gave them the car, and they know exactly where it is.
And Beacon, too.
So our next
Apparently
meeting
not.
is November the
White Plains has a
9th.
high ridership, and it doesn't get,
It's early in the month because of the holiday, and it's fine.
May attendant, please. May attendant, please. We are still conducting the test of the building fire alarm system. Please disregard all signals you might hear or see. This is only a test. Thank you.
So 11/9 is our next meeting. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?